awareness leads to a deepening learning experience for the client?
Yeah, so we will talk about that later on, and we're going to get some input from the audience. What do you notice about the expanding of the mind in today's coaching session? Of course, we already said that you will not see the drills in the level one, but you can see how the mind, the client's mind is expanded. It looks like this is a major theme in the feedback from the students.
Right. Yeah. Change happens when the client can clearly see themselves, what's
Yeah.
important to them, how they perceive themselves and the situation.
Isn't that interesting, and Corinne? I mean, it's like the client is so clear about what they're talking, but yet
Yes.
here we can see that the way they see themselves right now move up to the next level. All right.
Yes.
So that is very interesting for us as a student here to understand that, wow, while the clients might be clear about what they are narrating, that kind of clarity that is needed to create the change is
Yes.
somehow is not available in that way of narration. Huh?
Yes. The coach invited the client to deepen her learning by challenging the way she's thinking about the situation.
Precisely, one of the characteristics of the transformational approach is the deepening learning through the process of heightening the awareness. Huh?
Yes.
But of course, we can deepen the learning and heighten the awareness at the same time. I mean, after that, so it doesn't have to be that sequence of have to be heightened first and then deepening, but it can be deepening and then heightened. Good.
Yes. To understand the thoughts,
Yeah.
experiences that are in our mind and change perception of the world. Your inner world is your external world.
Wow,
Thanks.
high five. That
Yes.
is
That's a
truly,
big one.
that is truly makes coaching this makes coaching really challenging. And that is we are working with the thought process, the experience that is at the back of our mind that we cannot, kind of like see it or manage it.
The pausefulness of the coach is the key to create a more reflective learning space. Yes.
I'm
Yes.
not sure I'm so possible today.
No, they were there. They were there. There was a lot of energy, but there were also pauses. So
I
that's
wish
well
to be
picked
more
up.
possible. I was so eager to jump in. Okay. Lessons learned. Okay.
Yes. Gain framing is
Yeah.
important. Bulleting assist the client
The re-
reflect on the
yeah.
learning. Yes.
Yeah. We would love to hear some of your input, students. Remember, if you're from level one or you're in level two, share with us. What are you noticing about the framing that is in a game frame? Okay. So
Yes.
everybody get ready.
Yes. Coach's ability to contain the narrative of the client succinctly. Yeah.
Yes, yes. This is where experience comes in.
Such a
Yes.
hard job.
It's a very hard job, especially early in the morning, Katie.
Oh, but that's really that's really I think we all picked up on this one and it's a great observation.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think that's the difference between executive summary and summary, right? What you hear today is not a summary of the client's narrative, but executive summary that provides a very good frame around the client's narrative to contain it, so that it doesn't get lost, as a result of further exploration, which is natural, right? But that ability to capture that narrative, and contain it is the key here. Huh?
Yes. Coaching is not solutioning, but giving the opportunity to the clients to explore what is stopping them from moving forward.
But the coach do have a solution. But
Yes.
it's not a solution to the problem, but how can I say, that the coach understands the nature of things and is able to recognize what is happening, of in the client, and use that understanding that the coach have to co-partner together with the clients to invite change to happen here. So that's where, that is that that element of like, hey, the coach seems to know something here and not offering directly. So that is where the skill set really takes it to the the highest level.
Yes.
Not using
It
the
it
coach
felt
under.
like Yeah, it felt
So,
like MCC level providing an offering to the
yes,
client.
yeah,
So this was an example of how, if you are an expert in an area, how
yes,
you can make an offering into the coaching
yeah.
conversation.
And use that offering to stimulate learning, inviting people to learn also. So
Yes,
that's a skill
yes.
set here.
And if I can remark on that, Ben, so this is, I just want to point out here for the students, so this is something different than
Mm,
the client asking us what our advice is to them
yeah,
and then offering a solution. Yeah,
yeah,
because that's very important. We had that happen many times, during practical labs and things. So this is not the same. This is something different.
yes. Something different. We can talk about that later, but glad that
Yes.
anchoring you point that out. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Your perspectives are built up from your previous experiences or beliefs. Do
Oh,
not prejudge things because you're afraid. It's
wow.
all about your mindset.
Thank you. That's a very good learning from this coaching conversation where we can come up with some of these life principles or life learning there. Well
Yeah.
done.
The power to create awareness that she is
Ah,
not in the present moment and
yeah,
experiencing negative emotions and views towards or related to a situation that has not even happened yet.
precisely. The power of transformational coaching lies in what occur or unfold in the moment for the client, right? So the content is something that has already, the content that the clients offer is something that has already happened. But what the client is experiencing about that content is something that is in the moment. And that's where we want to observe as the clients have any conscious awareness around that thought process. Because if that thought process is being created only in the moment, it opens up a lot of windows for us to examine what's actually happening at the back of our mind that is projecting those narratives. Wow, it's awesome.
Yes, yes. Guide the client from a gain frame and positive direction. Acknowledge the client's situation and feeling first.
Yeah, so that is a very unique way of acknowledging the clients as we witnessed today. They could jump in and say, well done, good effort. And that's also, those are in the advanced level. You remember trust and safety. One part of it is to acknowledge the work of the clients in the process. So here we see one demonstration of the coach acknowledging the change that is happening in the session itself.
Yes. Process framework will lead to clients' desired outcomes.
Mhm.
Clarifying the concerns of the
Yeah,
clients.
that is great. I'm so glad that that the word clarifying is used here. It's not digging, is into the concern. It is not fixing the concern. It's clarifying. It's to uncover what's really beneath. What is it that the clients can learn as we explore and examine the concern. Yeah.
The client's awareness on a whole different level,
Yeah.
not only for this moment, this situation.
Well done. There's a lot of multiple layers of awareness happening at different contexts.
Being bold and truthful to hold the client accountable for her expression and intention.
In your own style. Okay. I would just want to put a curfew in your own style. Okay. But
Yes,
the characteristic of boldness and truthfulness must be the hallmark of us as a professional coaches. And I think as we increase our skill set capacity, the more we are bold and truthful in what we are observing. Yeah? So well done. So students, keep up the good work. Yeah.
yes, yes. Among many other things, expanding the mind for clarity around clarity enables the client's self-realization.
Oh.
Among other
Yeah.
things, okay, there's more. Okay, after listening to this session, I realized that the transformational approach is indeed necessary for sustainable results. Yes,
Yeah. So we
yes,
differentiate between transactional approach
yes,
and the transformational
yes,
approach. No? Thank
yes.
you.
Using the science, we learned to
Yeah.
separate the story, the information given by
Yeah.
the client, help the client to see her situation through her lens.
Wow, I hope this case study proved the point. It's not easy. It's not
Yes,
easy. We can write it very conveniently, but it is not easy if you are in the shoe of the coach navigating through the content. It is really not easy. Huh?
Yes. Yes. Observation, observing the nature of the content, see them, bulleting for the client, respect client sharing more information, and guide through from the conversation. No pushing, no suggesting. Yeah.
Suggesting bingo.
Yes. The power of equal partnership, where the coach boldly challenged the client and at the same time extends compassion. Yes. Yes. The client's mind expands. She has gained clarity of her situation with guidance from the coach and
Yeah.
has realized she can be responsible.
I like
Yes.
the word guidance from the coach. It suggests an equal partnership in which the coach facilitates the process versus the conventional myth that the coach is more of a passive role of just asking questions. So here
Yes.
you can see the equal sharing of the coach contributions and the client's contributions, without the coach telling. Okay, so this is
Yes.
really a very good characteristics of a partnership.
Yes. The transformational conversation is never about what is clear at the beginning. The coach has to patiently peel back the onion to get the real gem of the conversation.
Indeed,
Yes, it does
indeed,
feel like
indeed.
that. Yes, yes. How it has helped this client to have a shift in her own mindset on how she can face her issue from a different perspective.
Yes, and I hope that this case itself illustrates the power of that shift. And often people really undermine, what this little shift can have in the overall change equation. So that is what, and this is a shift that really leads to the sustainable impact.
We learn the process is a continuous awareness,
Yeah.
clarity, and choice at different levels that creates the whole that moves towards the transformation. I appreciated observing the journey unfold.
This input must be from a third level students.
Yes. 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 Transformative coaching is not transactional. When the framework is used and followed correctly, it evokes reflection and awareness for the client in every phase of the conversation.
Precisely. We all understand the importance of evoking awareness. What we are interested is not to talk about the importance. We are interested how we can equip you with the capacity to do the
Yes.
work of evoking. Okay.
Yes, yes. The pace of the conversation observations allowed the client to go deep in her thoughts and feelings and come to her own awareness about what bothers her.
That's true.
Yes. Reflecting and bulleting back are
Yeah.
essential. As coaches, we are a mirror to the client. Yes.
Done.
Coaching is the opposite of consulting, as a coach should find a way to let the solution come out from the client with a breakthrough if possible.
Yes. Here, I would like to just add my own comment. It's not so much of find a way to let the solution to come out. I think it's find a way to uncover the understanding and support the clients to have that understanding and using that understanding to be choiceful about what sort of changes the clients can consider and then decide what's the solution for it. Okay, so
Yes,
the
yes,
sequence of order, the sequence of order is important here.
yes. It doesn't have to be step by step, as it is dependent on the client. Yes.
Indeed.
Yes.
Okay, that's it.
Slow down and listen. Release yourself from the chains of pen and paper. Yes. I think
So
it's
level
not
one
just Katie.
students,
I think we
take
all,
note.
yes. I
No,
think that's
don't
a
take it.
reminder for all of us. The power of using observation to construct the inquiry, to evoke greater awareness, clarity, and understanding. The beautiful journey that the coach and the client went through. It's wonderful to hear the laughter of the client.
And the
Yes.
coach too.
And the coach too. It was one of the things then that we pointed out in our most recent cohort that being relaxed as a coach,
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily mean that that you have to be really extremely calm and
Yes.
with you your calmness and relaxedness, it really shows oftentimes with lots of laughter and lots of energy. So
Yeah.
it's very, the point I want to make, it's very personal. It's very,
Yeah.
very personal.
I like
How
your word to be personal, right?
yes,
It's not to be just professional, just like
No.
speaking to a HR, we kind of like, okay, we have to be professional. But I think we can bring that human touch, and that human touch has to be well supported by a muscle. You knowing what exactly you need to do. And when you know what you need to do, it's more easy for you to bring your personal touch to the conversation.
Yes.
And it
Yes,
makes a
because
world of
yeah.
difference.
Yeah, because then you're probably more relaxed. If you know what you need to do, you're
Yeah.
more relaxed and you can add that personal
Yes.
touch to the
Yes.
conversation.
Yes.
Yes. Digging
Oh, no,
into
no, no. I don't like digging.
oh no, 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 no.
We don't like
No,
digging here.
no,
We're not digging
no.
here.
Allowing to serve to get it to the surface to find the real issue.
The science here we are doing is uncovering,
Yeah.
evoking. No, not so much of no. We are not. No, we don't like.
Connect to clients' emotions and allow herself to invoke the awareness to make changes. Be present and be there to support the client. Yeah.
Relax.
Relaxed approach, yet very deep.
Very deep.
Yes.
That is important to have the
Yeah.
fun and not lose grip of the process.
Yes.
Right? It's
Yes.
not just being funny. It's
Yeah.
adding a personal touch.
Yes. Yes. The benefit of reflecting to the client their words and automatic behavior patterns. Yes,
Yeah.
that was that's what I felt. It felt like you were listening as a coach on different levels, not
Yeah.
just the words, but also indeed the behaviors, the emotions. There were different layers that we observed you as a coach
Yeah.
observing the clients
And,
today.
and one more thing that I think is not reflected here in the feedback here is not just only to observe the narrative, the sense making, the behavior, but it's also observing how all these three mismatch one another.
Yes.
So that is observing of the matching here. Okay. So this
Yes.
is one piece that I think most of you have not picked it up. Either
Yes.
matches or mismatch. Now the three component that the coach is observing.
The human mind is complex, and the conventional coaching questions have limited impact and on creating meaningful impact that is
Wow.
transformative in nature. Wow.
But I can't figure out which level of students is this.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I love it. I love it that we have all levels here today. Isn't it amazing?
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah. I appreciate the exploration done on the understanding of the client to what the client stated as presenting topic, to the focus, and
Yeah.
leverage on that to deep dive to a deeper understanding.
So paying very
Wow.
close attention to the focus and then use the skill set to uncover the understanding.
The approach supports the coach to see how the client is relating to their story. However, the client has to be up for sharing and digging deeper around what is really going on. Yeah, sorry, we skipped the word digging, but other than that, it's yeah, great
Yeah,
observation
I think the
again.
coach has the part to influence the clients. And I think by saying that, however, the clients had to be set up for sharing, I think that is really, that can be improved by learning the art, learning your skills well. And when that part is done, I think your possibility of influencing the clients radically increases. Yeah?
Yeah. Impressive how the master coach was able to bring what seems to be a new perspective to the client. For example, defense mechanism and how this led to the possibility of letting
Yeah,
go and being really present.
that is complicated. Let's skip that
Yes,
for the time being.
yes, yes. Being focused on the whole person, not just what they are saying, but
Yeah,
what they are doing, what other questions that gives us to help them with.
precisely.
I'm unsure how I would use this in a workplace context. It seems like life coaching rather than work coaching. Oh,
No,
wow.
that
You can
that
say a
is
lot
not
about
true.
this.
That is not true. That
It's
is
not
not
true.
life coaching. It's about
No.
how one person see themselves. And in workplace coaching, if you're only transactional, you will never create any deeper conversations. It's like whether
Yes.
it's life coaching, work coaching, performance coaching, we are not talking about the context. We're talking about the person. When you talk
Yes.
about the person, you have to consider what belongs to a person. the perceptions, the perspective, the way they see things, the way they attribute things. All this transcend the context. So
Yes.
the topic is about a personal issue, but the approach is a scientific way that will transcend the context. Right? So this is important for us to differentiate. Do not just look at words like life coaching, work coaching, or like personal coaching. Those are just contexts. What
Yes.
is important is capacity and skill set.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Good. Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Absolutely. There is more behind the words that we can dig into the first and second layers.
Please
Yes.
get rid of digging. We don't
Yeah,
like
no,
to dig.
I'm sure Ben, next session there will be no digging anymore. Most times the answers are already known to the client. The
Yeah.
coach's expert observations, questioning, and guidance only helps the client to articulate it and gain the required insight.
Wow.
Yes, yes, yeah, and that's what our client shared as well, didn't she? Afterwards, how the frame bullets supported the coach to navigate through the complex narrative. It brings focus and enhances clarity that brings about greater impacts.
So as you can see, these are the skill set that is needed in almost every context. People are confused. People are not clear. It doesn't have to be a life coaching context that people are not clear. Even in workplace context, people are not clear about what they're talking, especially leaders. Okay. So
Yes.
the ability to bring clarity and evoke understanding transcend across all contexts.
Yes. A lot of observation and sharing own insights, self-defense mechanism. Yeah, that's again the expert piece, the offering. Bulleting in a way, helping the client to see her own thought process. Yes. The uncovering of understanding process is where
Yeah.
transformation can happen. The master coach is calm and vulnerable to be able to express a bit of a challenge while processing what seems to be a cluttered story. It reinforces a safe space and opens up to reciprocation. I'm
Must
not sure
confess,
what
my
it's
mind was
pronounced.
already blank.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, thank you for that, for sharing that. Yeah, the coach's ability to get a deeper insight from the client's narrative, help the client to reflect and be fully aware of their thoughts, which evoked a deeper awareness and learning for the client.
So as we can see here, even in workplace context, leaders need to learn how to reflect and
Yes,
examine. It's not just in the personal issues that we
yeah.
need to do that. Even in the way we do things, we need to reflect how we are
Yes,
doing things and gain a more conscious awareness on how we are actually executing things, right? So this is
yes.
a capacity that we are building here in our transformational approach.
Yes, and there's a need for that as well. That
Yeah,
within the workplace, there's a realization that there's a need for that as well, for
yeah.
reflection.
Precisely
Yes,
because people are so driven to do that we need to
yes.
pause and be able to examine what's our action in the light of our intention. So these are really powerful skill set.
Yes, absolutely. Observation of the client's restlessness being a form of
Mm,
distraction and reflecting that back with the invitation to be more present.
well done.
Yes. The combination of observing the bodily behavior, the language, and the client's thinking process. Indeed, where does your inquiry come from? Observation.
Must be from
Yes.
a first level.
Yes, now fantastic. Isn't it wonderful? You know how
Yeah.
what is picked up. The way the coach asked to keep the pen aside and stop talking, taking notes. In my opinion, that was the moment the client started being receptive. Yeah, I think we could all
Wow.
see that within the client. And again, this was one of the things like the coach. There's this balance between being this, this calm,
Yeah.
lovely person at the same time sometimes
Being
challenging
firm. Being
and
firm.
being firm with the client. Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Love the way the master coach offered his observations and sounding it off to clarify and to
Yeah.
process further for better understanding and
So as you can
awareness.
see here, no, the
Yes,
transformational process has a lot of evoking, clarifying, and uncovering understanding. Those are skill sets we don't talk about it. We want to be able to do what we are talking. That's the purpose of why we are using this case study.
The coach's observation of the client's emotions, fidgeting, and propensity to act instead of pausing, being in the moment, and reflecting and calling it out made a marked change to the conversation.
Wow.
Yes. The fluidity, spontaneity, oh, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, and freedom in the coaching session are the byproducts of mastering the science and diligent practice. Every conversation is tailor-made based on what is arising.
Yeah.
You can literally see the client's mind unraveling as the coach draws her out.
Well done.
Yes, and the last one, to expand the client's mind, is taking the longest part of the process. Yes.
Whoa, let's
Yeah.
invite everybody back to the screen right now. If you can turn on your camera, let's everybody give everyone high five for making this such a wonderful learning session. Whoa! Are you guys learning? Are you enjoying the rich case study here? Well, that's the unique part of Coach Masters Academy, is that we do not just want to do role playing. We want to take you to the jungle and see how life is like in the wild, right? And that is important because a good training must be able to stimulate the participants, the learner, to as much as they can to real life context. So the more you expose yourself to such a case study, the more you become sensitive to the principles that you're learning. And this will help you to become less formulated. Do you understand what I mean by when I say less formulated? That means your conversation doesn't sound like an interview. It's very scary, right? It's like I have to answer your question. It's like, but again, think about this dynamics that is involved between a coach and a client. Now, you need to understand the power of asking questions, as in not so much that asking questions is powerful, but whoever get to ask questions has power. Are you able to follow my chain of thought? Now, think about police officer, think about FBI, think about KGB, think about the police integrating the criminals. Who get to ask questions? Right. So the act of asking question itself is a power display. And especially when a client has to work with a coach, there is already a perceived power that is attributed to the coach as being the expert. So henceforth, in the space of dynamics, the client is already at the losing end because of the exchange of power here. The coach as the service provider who deems as an expert here, and the coach is asking questions. Are you following my chain of thought? And this is going to impact the impact. It is already not setting up the atmosphere for a powerful gain, right? So henceforth, you want to be able to have that personal touch in the conversation without making it so candid. So far, so good, right? So that's the key here for us to learn how to give our conversation a personal touch, more fluidity in it. So thank you. Great. So for the remaining time here, should we open up for a dialogue sessions where you get to talk? We like to hear our students talking. Or share your couple of thoughts or anything that you feel that is of interest to you, and you would like us to give you a little bit more in-depth understanding around today's case. Anyone would like to kickstart any interesting questions, anything that you might be curious about? Oh, it looks so quiet. How many of you are tired already by now? One eye. Supposed to be the one who is tired, not you. Oh, we have Helen. Helen, would you like to go?
Yes, I just have a very question. It was very interesting on the comment on how in certain types of coaching we don't give advice and it's an offering. I'm just wondering, where can I get more information about this offering bit? I asked this question on the premise that when I was practicing my coaching with my fellow classmates at my level, just our peer practices, one of them took the advantage that I'm a divorce and family coach. So this classmate of mine raised a family issue for coaching.
Okay.
And while I tried to stick to the tick boxes of ICF so that I make sure I cover everything, there were points where I had to throw it back to the person, to the client, and sort of implore a little bit more and gave a little bit more insight, suggestion. And the feedback was pretty good to me personally, because my client then came back and said, oh, I really see the value of what you do. And I also see your difficulty, because it can sometimes need to be a hybrid situation, not just the ICF ticking boxes type thing. So that made me think. So I said, I really have to stick to the ICF because I want to get through it. But it was a very interesting comment. So when today this topic on this thing about not giving advice, which we never do as coaches, but there is this thing called like an offering
yes.
in certain types of coaching, which I felt probably relates to my kind of work. I'm just wondering where I can get more information
No
on
problem.
this.
I'll come back to you, Helen.
Okay.
I just want to highlight a few important, not say few important. I'm going to highlight a few things that you said. Number one, it's not about certain type of coaching. Okay. Number two, an offering is not a noun, but it's a skill set. It's the ability to offer something. So that is a more proper way of, more technical way. The ability to offer, and it's not a certain type of coaching conversation. It's under what context will you need to offer. So can you see here, the clarity of what we are saying impacts how we are learning. Okay, so it's to offer as an ability, context as not form. So I'm going to come back to that later. And number three, this is not about coaching versus counseling or other field. It's all about your ability to invite people as an equal partner, where both are able to learn and receive, right? So that's more appropriate rather than to say, oh, I need to tick the boxes and stuff like that. So ticking boxes is part of the training process while you are a student in the training program, to allow us to reinforce a system of thinking. Now, somehow in the 21st century, we don't pay enough attention to system of thinking, but a lot of the act of doing a certain execution. What do I need to do? How do I need to do? Right? The doing part is only, okay, let me just come back here. In the 21st century leadership literature, we are talking about agility. Agility is the ability to use understanding to navigate complexity and then to come up with creative, innovative, or just something in the moment to deal with the issue. It's never a complete set of answer. It is an understanding. It's not an answer to the situation, but it is having an understanding on what really matters and acting on what really matters. And that requires agility in thinking. If that is true, then the 21st century education system needs to focus on system of thinking, which is how you are thinking. How are you processing your thought process? Now, back to where I'm starting. To be sustainable, to have a sustainable result for yourselves, it is more valuable to learn to shape your way of thinking rather than what I need to learn. So it's how we think, not what we are learning. So coming back to a coaching scenario as a student, in Coach Masters Academy, you'll realize something. We'll never give you a direct answer, as in this is what you need to do. Why? Because that is robbing you of the opportunity to reflect on what you are learning. So instead, what we do is share with you powerful principles that is universal truth, like reflective thinking is powerful, and walk you through with great understanding how reflective thinking works, what's the component of it, what's the characteristics of that, so that you can reflect on this truth and then think about the applicational part of it by bringing case study like this, whereby you have no direct answer as in this is how you need to do reflective thinking or reflective learning or whatever that is, but to highlight the component of the case study and ask you to consider how is that the act of reflective thinking. Now, so back in at the training, we don't give you the direct answer for a good reason. And for those who are at the advanced level or even at the first level, we give you what we call a drill. This is how you expand the mind. This is what you need to pay attention to. These are general guidelines. And then you go about engaging with one another with these drills so that it shapes your system of thinking, right? So back in the markers, those markers is designed to instruct you so that it can inform you how you need to respond, right? So it's not following a very rigid system. This is how I need to do coaching, but it's more of allowing the drills to shape a way of thinking. So far, so good. So I'm going to come back to Helen later on in terms of this discussion around to offer. Okay, and what context do we offer that to our client? Huh? Back to you, Jamina. I see that your hands is raised. So sorry for keeping you waiting.
Oh, no, not at all. Very, very valuable discussion, and we're all here to learn. So, my profession is media, so I think I'm right up there with the police and FBI. So, I ask a lot of questions, and I'm a media relations specialist in Antigua, and a lot of what I do revolves around providing information and obviously asking questions, motivational speaking. So when people come to me and ask me for my advice, I give them my perspective. So I do all of the talking. And I've just realized in this very valuable session that coaching is a lot more about listening and not making suggestions, not trying to control the outcome, but to get the person to draw from what is already inside of them, rather than telling them, this is how I overcame my divorce, or this is how I came out of a toxic relationship. You have to allow them to make their own informed decisions, because you're giving them the authority and you're not taking away their agency. And so I think that is the first thing that I learned from this session, that there's a lot more listening that needs to be done. And of course, motivational speaking and all of the forms of media have their place, but
Yeah.
with coaching, it's totally different. So thank you for this very first session, and I look forward to having many more discussions like this one. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jamila. Let me encourage you that because of your work as a in the media part, you already have a prerequisite that most of us do not have. That is a sense of curiosity to draw out. So that is what we want you to keep. Now, there's always a
Oh,
principle. Don't throw the water out, but not the baby out of the bathtub.
not the baby.
Not the baby. Okay. So that's the strength that you
Yes,
have,
indeed.
your ability to draw out based on a sense of curiosity. So from a mastery point of view, you need to be able to manage your strength. And that is, how are you going to draw out right now? What is it that you want to draw out? So that will be your new extension of your skill set. Drawing out that is in the context of getting the relevant information to do a different purpose. That is to do the work of evoking, but not to tell a story. That is one. Number two, experience are wonderful gifts that we have. As a practitioner, we need to process those experience and come up with applied knowledge. So as you can see here today, my ability to spot the defense mechanism as a manifestation is an applied knowledge. I'm able to see something based on my experience. And I'm not telling people what that experience is. I process that and I'm able to see how it operates. And therefore, I use that understanding in today's context and offer that to the clients and say, hey, do you think I can offer you something that is from my own study as a psychology, right? And then I offer a very crisp, concrete statement that what I'm observing is merely a manifestation of a defense mechanism. So the way I offer that piece of statement is a concrete statement that is objective and not conclusive. Then that gives my clients the opportunity to take a look at that and say, is there any truth to that statement, and to learn something from it? So as you can see, it's a multiple facade of skill set coming together to prepare a good cuisine. It's not instant noodles. Okay, turn on the hot water and then put the noodles inside and you get it. So it requires you to plug a lot of skill sets, and put them together to prepare this wonderful cuisine. So you are in a good hand, Gemini. That is already a prerequisite. Just need to work on the extension of what you have. Good. By just hearing the way you speak, I'm already excited. You do have that gift of voice. Okay, good. Back to you, Helen. The ability to offer is one of the important skill sets that we need to support our coaches at the level 3, which is coaches preparing for MCC to develop. Why at the mastery level? Why at the level 3 or MCC skill set? Well, we need to understand this scheme of development. If you ask too much question, good or no good? Nah, good. Right? In a coaching conversation, if 90% of time is asking questions, it doesn't feel like an equal partnership and it doesn't feel good. Now, if you give too much input from the coach perspective, it's also not good. Right? So therefore at the MCC level, to fully demonstrate full partnership, the inquiry that you ask needs to have the capacity to evoke rather than to elicit answer. And at the same time, the amount of inquiry needs to be balanced with the coach perspective, thought, or even comment. So I think that's the part where you come in, Helen, where you do want to make a comment actually based on something that the client is saying. And that comment is based on your expert's insight around cases that you have witnessed or something like that. So technically speaking, you are not actually advising the client. You are having your own input, your own thought about certain things. That is how you are thinking around it. So that's actually a comment, classify that as a comment. So here, that's where you need to offer, and that's where you have to learn the skill set of how to offer that to the client. Okay, so it's not saying that, it's not to confuse that with an advice. So you're not actually advising, or you're not actually giving them a piece of advice or suggesting advice. You are giving them an insight. Okay. So then how you frame that insight is going to be a test of whether you can structure it in a way that it becomes an invitation for them to consider. Okay. So that becomes a really very challenging skill set to master. Okay. Is that useful for you, Helen? If I frame it in that way? Great. Good. So, are we happy tonight? Today, sorry, not tonight. Depending on which part of the world. Maribel, would you be kind enough to, if that, now let me just go through the room just to make sure that we have everyone covered. If you have any curious questions, things that you would like to get more input, if not, you will not be able to sleep tonight. This is your last chance to voice out. If not, otherwise, we will have Maribel to come and close us for tonight's session, for today's session. Good. So before Maribel do that, just watch out for the upcoming live coaching session. Every live coaching sessions are different. How many of you have been here more than once? Oh, are they the same? Is the learning the same? Oh, do band coach the same? The band surprise you each time you come? Right, there's a lot of stuff under my sleeve. Okay, so do keep do join us. This is really an invaluable learning platform where we inspire and encourage one another in pursuit of mastery of greater service to our client. Great. So there is upcoming one starting in September, a very juicy topic, because I just want to make sure that we keep the learning space hot, right? So I work very hard to find clients with juicy topic. Okay, so that we can all learn, and today we learn about how to support the clients in the moment to notice something, and with that as part of the coaching process to support positive change, right? There will be other cases that you will be exposed to. So do make effort to join us. Where to find those information is either on our website, or if you are students of CMA, you can find that in the LMS calendar, or stay connected to us in our CMA graduate Facebook. That is one way that you can get the information, or if not, make sure that you receive our monthly news email updates on the events for the month. Great. Maribel, will you be kind enough to close our session tonight?
Yeah, thank you, Ben.
Today, why am I tonight? Today.
Well, it's tonight actually for, we have a lot of North American students who are here, I noticed. So it's really a nighttime for them, and I'd like to welcome them. These are the new students coming in for our September cohort. So I see like about 5 of them who are here, so welcome.